In 2005, the Wachowski brothers produced the archetypal film V for Vendetta. And with almost prescient vision, they predicted what is unfolding in the year 20. Elected government seeking power and control develops a secret bioweapon and launches it against its own population to establish authority. See this fictional dictatorship not just seeking to dominate and control their population, but to be seen as there's had a deep historical well to work from in just the 20th century, with monsters like Hitler, Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, Fidel Castro, Hugo Chavez, Kim Jong-un, who don't just seek to dominate and control the very lives and thoughts of their minions, but who also want to be seen as the savior by the very people who are, of course, in the film, those that release the bioweapon on their own population that they're preying on also have the cure. V for Vendetta, we truly see art imitating life. But when you fast forward to the year 2019 and then 2020, it's not the US government that has its fingerprints all over this. It's the private, corporate, global government and their testing ground, the communist Chinese superstate. Top scientists from across the world in India and Europe and other areas all came out early on and said, this is clearly a man-made coronavirus.
This is clearly an offensive biological warfare agent.
From the beginning, the entire event was carefully choreographed. 2 years ago, the United Nations announces that disease X will soon arrive and that global government will be needed to counter the international crisis, and that basic human liberties will have to be permanently erased in the name of global health. And then, in the fall of 2019, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation holds Event 201, where 65 million people die from a corona-like virus, and the answer is quarantines, lockdowns, forced inoculations, robot drone enforcement, and of course, world government. From the beginning, the entire event was carefully choreographed. A man-made virus designed to not just attack 4 different parts of the body, including male fertility and the lungs, but where did filmmakers like the Wachowski brothers get the idea for their script? In history, a bio-attack pointed at the population to enslave them. Certainly the Wachowski brothers produced a vivid and rich film that is a masterpiece, but they weren't the first people in Hollywood or in popular culture to notice what was going on in official white papers I'll get to in a moment. Back in 1993, The Simpsons, known for being prescient or being on the inside, had a whole episode about a controlled bioweapon.
We're here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong, in dark rooms glued to their televisions, too terrified to skip the commercials.
Well, I think...
NBC, you are here to listen and not speak. I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
A new disease. No one's immune. It's like the summer of the shark, except instead of a shark, it's an epidemic. And instead of summer, it's all the time.
This can't be a made-up disease. The only moral thing to do is release a deadly virus into the general public.
Where are they getting these ideas? Well, it turns out it goes back to Malthus, more than 250 years ago in England, who coined the term Malthusianism, where the elite believes that they should release bioweapons or plagues on the population to reduce their numbers. But Malthus is not the father of eugenics. The father of eugenics is Plato, who over 2,000 years ago in his Republic wrote about herding the poor into compact cities and releasing plagues upon them. So where is popular culture getting its cue? Well, from the Club of Rome and public documents they put out in the 1960s calling for global forced depopulation. And of course, we have folks like Prince Philip, Prince Charles's father, Queen Elizabeth's husband, constantly in interviews saying he wants to come back as a deadly virus reincarnated to exterminate humanity.
In the event that I am reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly virus in order to contribute something to solve overpopulation. Prince Philip, reported by Deutsche Presseagentur DPA, August 1988.
You see, Bill Gates and Ted Turner and Warren Buffett and people like Oprah Winfrey, when they meet to discuss depopulation and world government, they're celebrated as wonderful, good people. When Bill Gates talks about getting rid of old people, death panels, so we all, quote, have more money. Or Newsweek talks about the case for killing Granny.
That's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion.
Why, he's a savior when he puts up equations about reducing the human numbers down to 0 to save the earth.
Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to 0. That's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look.
And he's following the Rockefeller Foundation and Carnegie Endowment Plan that's over 120 years old. In 2010, the Rockefeller Foundation put out a lengthy white paper that's public, and I suggest you go read it, called Lockstep. And it predicts an authoritarian world government will rise and crush the general public in the name of security and safety. And now, former British prime ministers and others are openly saying world government, a technocracy, an authoritarian rule of autocrats, is the only thing that will keep humanity and our precious old people safe. But these are the very same individuals saying we should get rid of the old people. It was Benjamin Franklin that said, those that will give up their liberties for security deserve and will get neither. Meaning, you always get enslaved. When you behave like a sheep, wolves come. And if you study who's running this whole pandemic hysteria, it is known eugenicists that publicly say they want to reduce world population to at least 500 million. These people are hyper predators, and it is all about raw power and control. And as soon as we start recognizing these spiders for what they are, dangerous anti-human authoritarians and not saviors, the sooner we can turn our civilization around. So when you see the incredible fear in the media of this virus that is a real bioweapon, remember the end game is here. Locking you up in your homes, surveilling you with drones, not letting you leave your house unless you have the right app on your phone. Total, absolute, big brother AI enslavement. The good news is humanity is awakening right now to the fact that it is the corrupt corporations and major globalist institutions like the World Health Organization and the Chi-Coms that have all these level 4 bioweapons labs that are developing the very pathogens that now plague humanity. Life is not imitating art in 2020. The Wachowski brothers and many others, like Chris Carter and the X-Files, were only telegraphing to you what they were experiencing at elite meetings around the world. Bill Joy in 1999, one of the co-founders of Sun Microsystems and a major billionaire, warned the world in an article titled "Why the Future Doesn't Need Us" that he'd gone to an elite meeting of top billionaires in Silicon Valley and that they had a consensus agreement to bring in world government and exterminate the majority of the world population. 14 years ago, I laid out the globalist plan from their own statements and predicted by the year 2020 they would begin executing their depopulation operation. This is only the beginning to train you to be locked down, so in the future, when the really deadly bioweapons are released and billions begin dying, you sit there believing governments and corporations are actually your savior and are going to shepherd you and protect you, when in truth they're Judas goats leading you into the slaughter. I'm Alex Jones, and you have been warned.